I think we should continue our look into the instructions that Paul gave the church at Rome that involved presenting ourselves as a living sacrifice and what that would entail. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Monday. As Paul continued his instructions for the church in Rome in Romans 12, we find this section is subtitled by those who divided his letter into chapters and verses. They call this series of exhortations, Behave Like a Christian. So if you've ever wondered what acting like a Christian really involves, here it is. Romans chapter 12 and verse 9, he says, "Let love be without hypocrisy. Abhor what is evil, cling to what is good." It seems like Paul is simply taking for granted the fact that we know we should love. Jesus said the greatest commandment in the scripture is, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all your soul and all your might." He also says the second commandment is likened to it. Love your neighbor as yourself. And then in John chapter 13, Jesus told his followers that he was going to give them a new commandment. He said, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. And by this, all men will know that you are my disciples, if you have that love one for another." So we understand the commands to love, but Paul says that love should be without hypocrisy. Unfortunately, the Pharisees were well known for their hypocrisy. As they stood on the street corners and prayed, they had lost all their sincerity for actually serving the Lord from the heart. Hypocrisy is feigning to be something that we're not, or claiming to have feelings that we don't really exhibit in real life. He said, don't just say that you love. We need to love, but we also need to display that love to others and for others, for that matter. His second verse says, "Abhor what is evil." Abhor is such a strong word. It means to loathe or to hate or have such a disgust that we reject it completely. You know, we can see all evil around us all the time on a daily basis. Perhaps we can even see it lurking in our minds and in our hearts and in our actions. But we need to develop such a hatred for love that we would turn away from it. As a matter of fact, maybe if we could see how God views evil, or what evil in this world actually did to Jesus Christ there on the cross, we need to love wholeheartedly and hate everything that's evil in us and around us. Then he tells us, cling to what is good. You know, when we see that good thing, we need to practice it. When we witness some good within our hearts, we need to think on these things, as Paul told the church at Philippi. Perhaps our desire to cling to the good would maybe weed out some of those bad thoughts or bad actions or even bad reactions that we have sometimes toward other people. And we would learn to love in a much better way.